So, today on The Explainer, we are doing a brutally honest breakdown of a very, very different kind of fraternity. We're talking about an organization that decided to set up shop right in the middle of one of Canada's biggest party schools and then just completely ignored all the rules. Let's get into it.
This quote right here from our source material, it absolutely nails the vibe. Just picture it. You're in a loud bar, the music's blasting, everybody's trying to be seen. And then there's that guy. He's not putting on a show. He's not trying to impress anyone. He's just there. But the really wild part is where we find it. And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? How on earth does a fraternity built around literature and quiet thinking even survive, let alone exist, at Western University? You know, the school famous for huge parties and a very image-conscious Greek scene? It doesn't add up. It's a total paradox. To even begin to understand this fraternity, you've got to understand the world it's swimming in. This isn't just about a single chapter. It's about this massive clash between its quiet, bookish identity and the super loud, party-hard environment all around it.
And yeah, this slide just lays the whole conflict out there, plain and simple. On one side, you've got the Western stereotype. All big energy, big parties, a work hard, play hard mentality that dominates the social scene. And on the other side, you have Kappa Alpha, or KA. Quiet, intellectual, completely under the radar, and way more into deep conversations than ragers. I mean, they're playing two totally different sports on the exact same field.
So if they aren't the big shots on campus, you've got to be asking, what's the point, from a career angle? Is there really any value in an alumni network that, let's be honest, most people have never even heard of? Now, at first glance, you see this score, a 53 out of 100, and you might think, well, that's okay, kind of average. It definitely doesn't scream powerhouse network. But that number is hiding a very, very specific kind of value. It's not what you think. And this is the core of it right here. This is not the old boys club that's going to land you a six-figure job on Bay Street. Think Canada's Wall Street with one phone call. Nope. The value here is much more subtle. The alumni network is really strong, but in these very specific brainy fields, law, academia, journalism, public service, it's way less about brute force power and way more about mentorship, genuine advice, and mutual respect. It's a network for the thoughtful hustler, not the loud social climber. All right, let's get to the part everyone really wants to know about when we talk fraternities, the social life. What's it actually like day to day? Well, the source material gives us a brutally honest look.
27 out of 100. I mean, that number tells you almost the entire story right there. If you were looking for those massive ragers, intense rivalries, and instant campus-wide popularity, this is not it. The whole culture is built on introspection, not intoxication. So think more like small get-togethers, listening to vinyl records, and actually talking to each other.
And well, that leads right into this next score, a 32 out of 100 on the chance of hooking up. Being in this fraternity does not give you some kind of automatic social status. It's not a shortcut. But, and this is a big but, that does not mean the members don't find success. And this is where the real nuance is. Success in this world has nothing to do with being a frat star. It's for the guy who is just genuinely confident, the one who can actually talk about a book or politics or some other niche interest, and who draws people in with his actual personality, not the letters on his shirt. It's a completely different kind of charisma. Okay, now we're getting into the most complex and honestly the most interesting part of this whole evaluation, the friendships. What does brotherhood even look like in a place that completely rejects all that typical masculine posturing? The source material actually uses a pretty unique scale to try and measure it.
Okay, let's break this down because you need to understand this before you see the score. The source calls it the homoerotic level, but, and this is really important, it is not about sexuality. Think of it like a scale of closeness. Levels 1 to 3, that's distant, surface level stuff. Group hangouts, talking about sports. But levels 4 to 6, that's where you get real bromance. We're talking emotional support, vulnerability, real genuine connection. And then level 7 and up,
that crosses into more physically charged territory.
So the score for KA at Western is a 5.2. And now with that context we just went over, we know exactly what that means. It's not low, it's not high in a sexual way, it's sitting right in that bromance sweet spot. It points directly to a high level of platonic emotional intimacy.
So what does that 5.2 actually mean in real life? It means this is a space of incredible emotional safety. It's about a group of brothers who feel comfortable enough to talk through a real crisis, like a devastating breakup or sheer panic about their career, and be vulnerable without any shame. It means they have deep, authentic friendships. It's intimacy, for sure, but in a really emotionally intelligent way, not a performative one.
So, after looking at the network, the social scene, and the brotherhood, what's the final word? Let's pull all this data together and give a final verdict.
The final overall score is a 49 out of 100. And just like all the other numbers we've seen, this is not a failing grade. In fact, it's kind of a perfect score because it perfectly reflects just how incredibly niche this fraternity is. It is absolutely 100% not for everyone. And that is entirely the point.
When it comes right down to it, you're making a trade-off. On one hand, the pros. You get a deeply intellectual culture, a truly safe space for real male friendship, and a totally unique Greek experience. But the cons are just as real. You'll be almost invisible on campus. You get zero traditional frat clout. It can feel super small and low energy, and it's definitely not for social climbers. That's the choice. That's what you gotta weigh. So the decision really just comes down to asking yourself these 4 questions. 1. Do you feel like an alien in mainstream performative frats? 2. Do you actually want deep, real friendships with other guys? 3. Do things like literature, history, and just good conversation actually mean something to you? And 4, the big one. Are you secure enough in yourself that you don't need everyone else telling you you're cool? If you just said yes to all of those, then all those low scores we talked about earlier, they mean absolutely nothing.
And let's just end on this final thought from the source material because it really says it all. The Kappa Alpha Society at Western, it's not about playing a part. It's for that very rare breed of man who doesn't want to perform his masculinity, but actually live it with honesty and with intellect. A rare breed indeed.